Hi. Ready? Okay. Today, I have a book tag. It's nice to kind of just check in and see how the year has been so far and what I'm looking forward to for the rest of the year. Let's just jump straight into it. I think for pretty much all of the questions, I only have one book that I'm going to be talking about, which is new. I usually have trouble narrowing it down, but a lot of these books work for multiple prompts, so I've selected one each, but just know that a lot of these are applicable to the other questions. The first question is the best book that I've read so far in 2019. For that, I have The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and actually quite a few books that I show you today fall into this category. There have been some really, really wonderful books that I've read so far this year, but I decided to go with this one because it's kind of everything that I wanted from this book. It was just so satisfying in a lot of different ways. Like, it's not perfect, but I freaking loved it. And honestly, it's a really hard book to describe. It's about dragons. The East have a very good and respectful relationship with dragons, and the West are at war with them. And there's a very, very dangerous dragon on the brink of being awoken. There's queendoms, there's some same-sex relationships, which I really liked seeing in a fantasy world, and it wasn't like a bad thing. There wasn't really any negative consequences of being in a same-sex relationship, which was really, really wonderful to see. The best sequel that I've read in 2019. For this, I'm going with Volume 2 of Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This series is beautiful. I also read the first book this year. Loved it. So it's a graphic novel series, which I think is a little bit of a companion prequel to one of Alice Oseman's other books. I think is it Solitaire? Solitaire follows Tori, whose brother is Charlie. And in Solitaire, Charlie is in a relationship with Nick, and this is kind of their story. It's so beautiful. In the first volume, Charlie is out. Everybody knows that he's gay. As for Nick, everyone thinks he's straight, but they develop a wonderful friendship which blossoms and blooms into something more, and it is absolutely heartwarming. Great sequel to a great first book. A new release that I haven't read yet, but want to. So one of the books that came out earlier this year, which I have multiple copies of, and I was really excited to get to, but just haven't yet, is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in a duology within the Grishaverse. It follows Nikolai Lantsov, who we meet in the Grisha trilogy, and I haven't read it yet. Couldn't tell you why. Moving on, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Dark Dawn, J. Kristoff. Coming this September! I did read an early draft of Dark Dawn early enough ago that I couldn't really talk about it, but now I can. Oh, what vlog was it? There was a vlog that I posted last year where I'm reading some manuscripts that I do not disclose the names of. There was 2 books. One of them was Dark Dawn. Indeed, a few of you guessed. Very, very clever, although it wasn't a leap to get there. But I'm going to be rereading this very soon because earlier draft, there have been some changes to this. I'm not sure how significant the changes are, but I'm really excited / nervous. I know what to expect, but it's still an intense ride no matter what. Biggest disappointment. I went into this book knowing it would not be anything like The Book Thief. I went in consciously telling myself not to compare it, and throughout the entire reading experience, I did not compare it to The Book Thief. Even still, I had really high expectations for Bridge of Clay. The synopsis didn't necessarily entice me a lot. It was Marcus Zuzak's name, and the fact that The Book Thief is one of my favorite books of all time, and one of the things I love about it, not just the story and the characters, but is the writing style. The writing style is just so beautiful, vivid, colorful, poetic. So I went into this thinking that I probably would enjoy it. Like, I knew I wouldn't love it like I would The Book Thief, and it was going to be a very different reading experience, but it still wasn't an experience that I really enjoyed, which was disappointing. One thing I did really enjoy about this was how Australian it felt, but I just didn't care about the characters or the story at all. Biggest surprise. This might seem like a silly answer because this book has been so hyped up, but I've never been interested in picking up any of this author's other books, and when I saw it come around, the only reason why I kind of wanted to read it was because I heard so many positive things about it. I didn't really know anything about the story, except that it was part podcast format, so really great for audio, but I didn't know what the plot was like, and I'd never been drawn to any of Courtney Summers' other books. So I picked up Sadie purely based on the fact that so many other people had said they loved it. Like, this made the rounds on BookTube. It was widely loved. I was gifted this book by 2 separate people and picked it up because I'd heard great things, but I didn't really buy into the hype in the way that I expected to love it. My expectations were just kind of middle of the road. Like, I didn't really know what to expect and I was kind of blown away. I loved it. I loved it. I did listen to the audiobook for this one and can definitely see myself going back and rereading it. It was an intense ride and I was hooked. Absolutely hooked. It's told from kind of 2 different perspectives, slightly out of time. So one is about Sadie and how and why she runs away from home. The other perspective is of this like popular radio personality who creates a podcast that is kind of investigating the disappearance of Sadie. And oh my god, it was amazing. And like, it works so well in the audio format because obviously part of it is formatted like a podcast, and in terms of the audiobook they had multiple narrators, and obviously half of the book is kind of like interviews and people telling their stories and the things that they know. Favorite new author, and this can be a debut author or new to you. Again, so many could have worked for this because I've read a lot of new to me authors so far for books that I've just absolutely loved, but for this one I'm going to go with Bridget Camara, the author of A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is a Beauty and the Beast reimagining, kind of portal fantasy. Like, our world exists. There's a girl called Harper who lives in Washington DC, and she is transported into this fantastical world where a kingdom, or more specifically a prince, is cursed. I liked the take on the Beauty and the Beast tale, and the characters are just absolutely wonderful. I loved the development of the 3 kind of main characters that we follow throughout the story. So Harper, then we have Prince Ren, and then Grey. Oh my god, the way this ended, I cannot wait for book 2. I need to know what happens next. Newest fictional crush, Grey from A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Like, when we first meet him, he seems to be the kind of really stoic, brooding guy, but I really love that that's not all of he is. He does have a lighter side. He can have freaking fun. He's hilarious. I liked his humor. I just want all the happy things for him. I just want him to be happy. Newest favorite character. I am going to go with Susanna from the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. She is the best friend of the main character, Karoo. She is sassy. She don't take no shit. She's hilarious. She's absolutely hilarious. Pretty much all of my favorite scenes from throughout this trilogy, Susanna is there. Give me a sassy character and I will fall in love. A book that made you cry? The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. A book that made you happy? The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wang. This book gave me all the feels. There were some really sad moments where my heart broke and I did cry, but there were also some really, really heartwarming moments that literally had me crying tears of joy. You all need to experience this beautiful, beautiful graphic novel. It's fantastic. We have Prince Sebastian, who hires a dressmaker, Francis, and Francis makes a whole bunch of magnificent, really kind of daring gowns. And Prince Sebastian at night will often go out on the town wearing all of these amazing, beautiful things, and is pretty much a fashion icon and is known to the public eye at night as Lady Crystalia. Oh, everyone needs to read this. The most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, or A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Camara. I absolutely love the cover of this. I hate the color orange, but I'm in love with this whole aesthetic. Like this blue and orange thing, it's really working for me. But I just love the detailed illustration, and the blue foiling is, oh, to die for. And then I also love this edition of A Curse So Dark and Lonely because it has the holographic foil on the spine and on the text. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I need to reread Dark Dawn, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. I started reading it halfway through, really enjoying it. The Gilded Wolves, I've been saying I would read that for the longest time and I haven't got to it yet. Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. I'm so excited about that one. Pretty much every single book that's unread, like so many I want to get to. Also really want to read The Immortalists by Chloe Benjamin. I need to finish some of the books that I've made progress on. There's probably about 10 books that I'm part way through and haven't finished yet. And I'm not DNFing them. I just put them down and forgot or did not have time to go back, and it's been so long that I might have to start again. So I guess that's about all that I have to talk about for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I should see you very soon in a new video, but until then, I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye!